Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Michael Torrence, and I serve as the president for Motlow State Community College. 6 locations to serve you all better. I'm pleased today to have Representative Mike Sparks and Secretary of State Mr. Tre Hargett in the building visiting us here at the Smyrna campus. I want to share with you some good news that you may not be aware of in terms of how well Motlow State Community College is doing this fall. We've increased enrollment by 4.5%, totaling 6,891 students. So that's thanks to communities working together and creating pathways and partnerships that align not only with the pathway from middle school to high school to post-secondary education, but also how the post-secondary education aligns with a pathway that leads to employment. We have a great county here in Rutherford County, and I'm pleased to invite Representative Sparks up to say a few words and then introduce Secretary Tre Hargett. Thank you.
Folks that know me know I'm a talker, so I'm gonna try to make it quick. I see these young faces in the audience here. I wish if we'd had this during the week, we'd had a larger crowd with the student involvement. But one reason I'm excited about Tre's visit here is Tre voted on that new building that's out here that you're seeing being constructed now, and he'll vote hopefully on the 4th building and then the 5th building that we want to get built out here.
Let's get this one built.
Let's get this one built. But as I see these young faces here, black, white, Hispanic, Republican, Democrat, conservative, progressive, it doesn't matter to me. I want you to be able to get an affordable education, and we're doing that in the great state of Tennessee. Governor Haslam's main drive is the drive to 55, and we're slowly accomplishing that goal. We've still got some work to do, but one thing that we want to do is touch and enrich your young lives. Something I want to brag on Dr. Torrence here recently. When I first met him, he brought up my mentor, Bob Spivey, the late Bob Spivey. He was mayor of Smyrna. Bob, I remember telling him, he called me years ago, and I hadn't finished my degree, working at Nissan in a factory, and it was just hard to go back. And he said, I'm going to bring his college to Smyrna, Tennessee. And be honest with you, I thought he was kind of full of it, be honest with you, And sometimes, but visionaries, a lot of times are out there on their own. They're visionaries, and they've got to be trailblazers, and Bob Spivey was certainly a trailblazer. But I was with him when he died, and I prayed for him to die. He had had a stroke and was paralyzed, and really sad. And I prayed for him to pass on and go to see his maker. And I said, Bob, thank you for giving me encouragement. We all need encouragement. I see Professor Whiting here that encouraged me to finish my degree here in Mass Comm, and I'm back at MTSU now. Finished up a few years ago, going back to learn journalism, and we checked out the camera with MTSU the other day. But you got to have leaders with vision, like Elizabeth Fitch, and like Ms. Tidings here, and Tre Hargett, and Professor Whiting's here, and folks like Bob Spivey, who have already blazed a trail before us. But you young people, you may not realize how awesome an opportunity that you have, because us that are a little older in the audience, a lot of us didn't have this opportunity. A lot of us had to drive to Nashville, Ball State, and other areas to go to school. We didn't have Tennessee Promise. We didn't have that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for Tre to be here, and y'all give him a warm Motlow welcome.
Okay, let's write September 21st, 2018 down on our calendar. It's the shortest speech I've ever heard Mike Sparks give. Short but effective. So thank you, Representative. Appreciate your leadership. As you can tell, he knows how to twist an arm. He's already talking about the next couple buildings in Motlow State. And Motlow is a great example. This campus is a great example of a few different things. And one of the things I think about when I first came into office as Secretary of State, I met with then Chancellor Manning at Tennessee Board of Regents. And I said, one of the things we've got to do is help people understand the real value and how we unlock the value of our community colleges in the state of Tennessee. I think for a long time we did not do a very good job at helping people understand what opportunity they had to continue their education at a 2-year school in this state. And I think now we're looking much differently. Instead of a student who is 18 years old, now we're doing enrollment, we're looking at middle college, we're now looking at 16 and 17-year-olds and how we go ahead and get them on a college campus. But we're looking at a lifetime of education now. And instead of thinking about somebody, okay, you go to a community college and you go there for 2 years and you automatically go and get your next 2 years at the 4-year school and complete your degree that way. What we see now are people who are going to TCATs and the 2-year schools and then 4-year schools, but also while they're in the workforce and building a career over here at the same time that many of them are also in school. And I think that's where the wave of the future, our 2-year schools here and our TCATs are really at the cutting edge of that here in the state of Tennessee. And when you see the growth here, I mean, it's obvious that leadership matters. And Dr. Torrence and Fitch, I mean, I appreciate their leadership. You are the people who are helping create the workers that we need, the good citizens that we need to fill the jobs of not just today, but tomorrow. You know, where we talk about 100 new people who are moving to the Nashville area each and every day, and they're moving here because there's economic opportunity. But many of them are coming here and they're opening companies, and they have a dream they want to fulfill, and they need workers. They need people who are prepared for the workforce. And I think something else we're doing a much better job of now in our schools than we were, and I think two-year schools are once again at the cutting edge of that, Motlow included, is the soft skills that we're helping develop. You know, if I had a message for our students today, is it's not just about what you learn at classroom, it's about learning to collaborate and work with one another and learning to look people in the eye when you talk to them and not looking down at your phone and thinking the world is on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And I think we've all in some ways think we are a star in our own little reality show, you know, on our phone or iPad. You know, you've got to learn good writing skills. You've got to learn good communication skills, and you got to learn to look people in the eye. You got to learn how to give a firm handshake. You got, you know, even if you never want to be in sales, you are in sales, because on that first job interview you go out for, you are selling the value that you bring to that employer. And Motlow gets that. And our 2-year schools, our Tennessee Board of Regents, they get that. And I think are better preparing, I hate to use the word workforce, because they're better preparing our citizens to join in the prosperity that this state has to offer. And it's also, when we talk about leadership matters, you know, when I look at Florida, you know, Chancellor Tidings and Governor Haslam and Mike and his colleagues at the General Assembly, they understand that the jobs that we are training people for 10 years from now, many of which we don't even know exist. But what we do know is that we have to give people a good set of skills that are transferable to do many different things with. And now, it's neat to be here at a time 10 years after I've taken office. And now Tennessee is the main topic of conversation in a good way when it comes to higher education. We were having these conversations 10 years ago. We used to always say, well, thank goodness for Mississippi and West Virginia. Yeah. I thought that was funny. I guess it wasn't. It wasn't funny at the time. 10 years later, we can look back and laugh a little bit now. But now what we can do is, you know, when we travel, when Tennessee Board of Regents and Tennessee Higher Education Commission and our 4-year schools travel now to different conferences, they want to know what's in the sauce in Tennessee and what we're doing differently. And the real thing is I think it began whenever we started to incentivize our schools based on outcomes. Students, it's important to know that this campus is invested in your success and your graduation and you moving through the process. They're not funded based on you just showing up. They're funded based on your success. They want you to succeed. They need you to succeed. And we need you to succeed to be able to take over the key roles in our communities going forward. And while we're also talking about good citizenship, I'd be remiss, and one of the reasons I'm traveling around the state right now is we are in the midst of voter registration month. And we are encouraging young people, in fact, we're encouraging all people to register to vote if they haven't already registered, to be good, active citizens. And registering to vote, by the way, is just the first step. We actually need you to go and vote. We have a lot of people who register but then never go vote. And when I look at our young people, I need you to understand that you have the worst voter turnout statistics of any demographic in the country. In Tennessee, frankly, our turnout has not been where I would want it to be. I think we are all better off when we participate in our form of government by showing up at the polls. And if you want to know why a lot of leaders don't talk to your age group about what the problems that you're facing are and what your hopes and dreams are that you hope to accomplish locally, at the state level, and national level, part of that is because you don't vote. If you want to hold government accountable, be an educated consumer with your vote, and get out there and actually cast your vote. And then people have to talk to you, and they have to recognize the things that you want to hear about and what you want your community to look like. And so I want people to get engaged in the process. So register to vote, and then be an active voter and vote in every election. And when I say be an educated consumer, please don't just cast your vote based on when you think you heard a name somewhere. I encourage you to do your research on candidates and find candidates that vote your values. And when I say that, that doesn't mean vote my values or Mike Sparks or Dr. Torrance's or anybody else in the room. Vote your own values. Vote for the people who you think represent you the best. That is what, in fact, makes our form of government work better than any other, frankly, is we have the opportunity to elect people that we think will accomplish the things we want to. It's not a perfect system. It can't be a perfect system because none of us are perfect, right? So, but what we can do is elect people who are committed to do our best to try and ensure that the economic prosperity of our state, and you represent the future of our state. And I don't say that lightly. As I'll go to New York City next month to visit with the credit ratings agencies, where we have the highest credit rating possible with all 3 credit ratings. And one of the things they talk about a lot is the future of the state and what the workforce needs are and how we're meeting those needs. And I will tell you, as the explosive growth we have, there are jobs out there, but we've got to train people for them. And if we want the economic growth that we have right now to be sustainable, then we've got to do right by you, but we need you to do your part as well and engage and be an active participant in your community and be an actively engaged student and do your best. And I promise you those things will yield great dividends for you later on. I appreciate the opportunity to be on this great campus. I'm glad I guess my last visit was 2 years ago, and we had not started digging dirt over there, and it's great to be back and see some of the progress, and appreciate your leadership, appreciate the leadership of Tennessee Board of Regents, and I look forward to your continued success here at Motlow State. Thank you, Dr. Torrance.
Thank you, Secretary Hargett, for your time, and Representative Sparks for twisting an arm and leading them this way. In closing, students, the power of your voices and your representation in this process of voting is real, and give yourselves agencies in this next election. Get out, talk to your friends about getting out, and be participatory in the fact that we do live in a democracy, and it is up to all of us to create the communities that we want to live in. I want to thank our guests again today for showing up and sharing with these students the importance of voting, as well as the importance of their own education and taking advantage of the opportunities that are at their fingertips. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Torrance.